Kevin Chaos here. And just a quick video. I suppose I could have saved this for a full video or included it in the segment, but I'd really like to inform you now because you're not going to be seeing any Facebook posts from me for a bit. Give me time. I shall explain. So I've been working on a project that cost me. It's going to cost me. Particularly Facebook bans. And free speech is not necessarily something that is appropriate these days. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to be confused. You know, about anything. The world is ran by corporate overlords who have a very particular way they would like things run. That said, Facebook and YouTube, in my opinion, are the highest censorship websites that there are. However, they're also some of the most popular websites that we're all encouraged to use or need to use, often backing other products and services, like how websites use tracking devices or automatic keyboards or so many other things, are often ran by Google services. Google owns YouTube. What this means is a lot of these companies are already tracking and manipulating your data, your ads, and so much more on a normal basis anyway. So in knowing that, you shouldn't really expect less censorship on any of their platforms. Now, today we'll be discussing Facebook, and I wish I had everything right at hand available. But I do have a couple screenshots just to kind of show you what it's like. I have been doing an experiment. I don't know if this will excite you. It was supposed to be a big setup for a future video, and it probably still will. I don't plan on stopping breaking the rules anytime soon. Assuming that they're really the rules. We can get all into fine hair technicalities. However, so I have a very long list. Here's the project, okay? I wanted to see what is allowed. What the f*** is hate speech? Because if you hate my hate speech and you tell me you hate it, technically aren't you speaking hatred back towards my hate speech? And that's just me giving a little bit of rhetoric. But the point is, there is no free speech anymore. If you're not part of the common cult, if you're not part of the common viewpoint, if you don't have the same opinions as everybody else does about COVID-19, if you don't have the same opinions as everybody else does about which major two religions to follow, Muslim and Christianity. So, yeah, so we're going to cover a couple pictures here, and I just want to show you what I've learned so far, and I'm going to tell you what mistakes I made on purpose to kind of test the boundaries of free speech. Okay, so I'll do my best to recall every little situation, but I do only have some of the screenshots here from YouTube and from Facebook. So as you can see here, there's already a long list from the past several months of offenses. I'm a hate speecher. I'm a hate speecher. I'm a hate speecher. I didn't follow community standards. I didn't follow community standards. See account status. My group posts will be lowered literally for months. For 59 days. Okay, whatever. People who are actually subscribed to me go to my direct page or to my website. So good job. That's like being in jail and I never use the phone and taking away my phone privileges, which actually happened at one point. It's not a penalty. It just means we're going to speak louder, more often, and spam further of a widespread of our message. That's all that means. In the words of a song by Hatebreed, your doubt, it fuels me. You make me fight harder. Defeatist, you and I will never be the same. Alright, so we have some basic screenshots here. Now let's cover where I've actually recorded these before. Okay, so you're not allowed to agree. You're not allowed to disagree. What could that mean? Check this out. Okay, so not allowed to agree. I guess I don't have the screenshot next to it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Not allowed to agree A, B, and C. Okay, obviously I don't really have this opinion, but again, I'm testing what is and isn't allowed. Are you allowed to agree with other people that don't seem to be kicked off the network? How does that work? People say this is a place for white supremacy and all this other garbage lies. And, you know, I'm testing the foundation. You know, how is that possible? If that's true, then we should be able to have a discussion. I should be able to support other people's bad opinions, right? Or like it, or just quote them back to themselves. And in theory, we're either both wrong or neither one of us is wrong. But weird how that works out. Instead, the second person who agreed, I made it very blatantly obvious what that person was talking about, chopping out of the whole paragraph, just this little section. Women are worthless, a woman means nothing, according to you. And I agree. Of course I don't, but, you know. Apparently that's more offensive than the first person. I just gave a summary of his hate paragraph. So I thought, okay, maybe it's all rhetoric. You know, maybe there is a way to approach these subjects. Maybe there's a way around the bots and censors or the living human censors. Maybe it's how you say it. Maybe with a little extra comedy or a long enough paragraph that's interwoven and people have a harder time just calling it hate. Not allowed to agree. February 27th, they gave me a code. This is just before they stopped really doing any reports. Like now you can, they'll tell you when you go to appeal a decision made that there aren't any people to appeal your decision because of COVID-19, 4 years apparently of laziness on this allegedly awesome network. And just fun facts, folks, so you know how all these Ponzi schemes and scams work with our corporate overlords. Anything you upload to Facebook, seriously, read the terms of service. Anything you upload to Facebook, they're legally allowed to sell and use without your permission, provided that, and there's no date on when they have to do it, they give you 10% of the profit down the road. So that means this is why I only post digital artwork these days anyway. That means any art that I draw, anything that I post on Facebook, all these guys who thinks that they're starting out to be a comic, writer or something, all their shit is free for Facebook to sell and use as they see fit. And if you don't have payment methods, how many times have you tried to contact Facebook? Have you ever tried to appeal? There's another option. There's no way to directly have a conversation, which means they basically get to rob you for free. I didn't follow community hate speech. A lot of these things were on religion. Some of them was questioning like Black Lives Matter, but oddly enough, that's super allowed. Like, I'm allowed to. It's only when they're like starting arguments like White Devil or something like that. If you defend yourself, then they kind of seem to take precedence to defend the black person in the party at that point, where there was no negativity exchange up to that point. But if I sarcastically, for example, say just by itself, no context whatsoever for them to really tweak. If I go on every post where a black person is in trouble, I told you I'm testing the lines. Keep in mind this is all for a reason. It's to let us know exactly how and what they're doing and why, what rights we really have and what we don't, and how to either meander around it or correct these issues. So that said, on random posts, if you say Black Lives Matter, I even went as far as joking and say, yeah, you ever notice that Black Lives Matter and Bingo is the same song? Black Lives Matter, B-I-N-G-O. Black Lives Matter, B-I-N-G-O. And that was okay? Why the fuck is that okay? I mean, it's just humorous. It's an innocent, harmless joke at the same time. But that takes away from the movement, doesn't it? It's goofy. It's not serious. It has no real meaning anymore with me doing that. Why is that okay? 0 copyright strikes or whatever. 0 offense strikes. It just blows my mind. So I started to get really curious about this stuff. Where are the lines? How is it okay to go on every time a black person is arrested? I've never gotten in trouble for this once. I can go onto a post, somebody's in trouble with the law, or a black person started a fight in a diner or something over them wanting to charge them for extra sauce and stupid shit like that, and I can come up there and I can say, Black Lives Matter, and I don't know if they think that I'm defending the black person, say, hey, leave that person alone, this was just sauce, you're an asshole, or what, but I'm allowed to just vaguely throw that out there. Black Lives Matter every time some black person is caught in a suspicious situation. Why? Blows my mind, don't understand. COVID-19. Oh, you'll like this one. Okay. So, I have to say this before we even begin, because YouTube has its own versions of Censors that doesn't like certain topics. I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not. I have no legitimate knowledge on COVID-19 or the vaccines. My advice as an entertainer and a comedian is not advice. It's entertainment and comedy. That my opinions or my rhetoric, my sarcasm, my humor, my way of representing material is not meant to be taken as political advice. It's not meant to be taken as doctoral advice, health advice, nothing. You should take it with a grain of salt and realize it is what it is, a show. That having been said, I'm going to share with you this following post. And I didn't even post anything about COVID. It was a bot that was retarded that, well, you'll see. Okay. So, we don't allow content that contains, I edited this picture, by the way. It says hate. Every time it says hate, I replaced it with the word free to emphasize, and it works perfect out for this video. Didn't really anticipate that. The attacks on free speech. So we don't allow content that contains free speech. This includes attacks on people because of their race, ethnicity, religion, caste, physical or mental ability, gender, or sexual orientation. There are exceptions clearly to all this, and certain things you can get in trouble for it and certain things not, and that's the whole reason for the experiment. Race, ethnicity, national origin, or caste, religious affiliation, total lies. Sexual orientation, gender, sex, or gender identity, total lies. I can rip on them all day long. They allow it 100%. As long as you're not telling them to literally kill themselves, you can tell them that you disagree. You can tell them that they're goofy. You can say, why do you need a parade? Or whatever other points you want to make. And it's allowed. Okay? In fact, it's weird because it's like both sides are completely allowed on that topic, it almost seems. There's a lot of hate, a lot of man-shaming, a lot of straight white male destruction, memes created to attack other genders and straight people and such. So it's weird, but maybe that's why the other person is allowed to question. You know, how is this sane? How is this appropriate? How is this normal or allowed material if this is the level of aggression, antagonization that we're going to get from you for granting these rights that you so seek? Serious disabilities or diseases, not true. Okay, so most of this isn't true. Race might get you in some pickles or whatever, but mostly they allow racism from from black people towards whites, but not the other way around. Going as far as to create new terms, whippy-po, why-peepo. I know, right? Retarded. Can't even say or spell white people. And it's just so that they can get around the censors and cause more divide between the erroneous illusion of our pigmented or underpigmented skins. COVID-19 misinformation is something that they censor. Very much so. Anything that isn't the public's, whoever they've elected to give you their version of the answer, if it doesn't match that down to a T, it's misinformation. There's going to be no investigation. There's going to be no research. You're going to be instantly changed. Now we're going to get to see the picture. We don't allow people to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a way that's misleading to others. Oh, see, there's a joke. People are stupid. Psalm 94:8. Okay, so that's not exactly attacking religion. It's supposed to be satire on how silly it is. Because it pretty much says you're stupid, but not quite. But whatever. Repeatedly violating our community standards can cause further account restrictions. Temporarily blocked. I'm looking for the picture. There it is. Here's one of the ones I got for, okay? So, this is a picture of a real fucking shop window. Right? Okay? They do photographs there. Not hard to imagine. This is an advertisement. It's silly. It's not meant to really mean to murder yourself or other people. And clearly, I'm disagreeing with the post. This particular meme has the first image saying, shoot the kids, which is referring to photography. But it is an obvious play on words. Hang the family. But of course they're talking about a picture frame. In fact, further exemplified in the very next expression, frame them all. It is a very interesting double entendre of a joke. But check out the response. All within the same picture. Hold up, wait, whoa. Like language, phrasing, I mean, that sounds like something else, but we know what it means. This is how ridiculous I find it. But you know what I got for that? Hate speech. Okay? There's a picture I'm looking for specifically. There we go. Can't comment for 6 days. Here we go. Here's what I was looking for. Okay. So we talked about COVID-19 misinformation, right? Okay. The picture you're about to see is allegedly, and I say allegedly because clearly it's fucking not. And unless some hacker retard somewhere embedded within the code invisible strings of data that Facebook can't actually read to suggest misinformation, which the regular person wouldn't even be able to find, then this is just a fucking unrelated picture. But let's take a look at what is Pfizer's confidential document shows adverse events reported following vaccination. It doesn't demonstrate that the vaccine caused the events. At what fucking point did I say that? In fact, there are no words to accompany the meme you're about to see that I posted that this is the result of. This is claiming that they have found false information in my post about COVID-19, which doesn't even mention the buzzword. And their rebuttal is, we've proven your shit wrong because of this unrelated document. And here's the picture. Look, there's no text, although you can barely see the top there. My immediate picture would be right there, and then the post. And you can't see because they blocked it here where I took the screenshot, but I will tell you what it says. So Bobby's holding up a sign, okay? Outside of his classroom window, taunting his fellow classmates, trolling, being silly, being Bobby. He's a comedian. And he says, Microsoft Edge is actually better than Google Chrome. Triggering statements. Everybody has a favorite browser. It's silly, right? And it's going to trigger a lot of people because most people, especially me, any other hacker or programmer knows, you don't use the programs that come with your computer. They're the most easy to exploit because they're the back doors every hacker is going to look for, knowing you're guaranteed to have this product somewhere in there, guaranteed to have this code. Okay? So Microsoft sucks in that regard. You don't use default equipment. It's the easiest to study. Anyway, so Edge is better than Google Chrome. I like Firefox personally, but if I had to choose between them, I'd disagree, and I would have had to respond to this post. Now, in the second panel of this two-panel comic strip here, the second panel read him, he's outside, he went to go check on Bobby standing outside the window there holding that sign, right? Came up to him, and he says to Bobby, this is his teacher, and he says, you know, Bobby, those kids would be mighty upset if they could read. Now, did I get a false flag? Did I get a flag saying that I was insulting people's intelligence? No. Hate speech? No. None of it. Instead, if they could read. Now, here's how Facebook censors work, and I can tell you what really happened here. This bottom half of this photo, the second panel to this comic strip, right here, where he says those kids would be mighty upset if they could read, the conclusion is this, folks. They're using bots to auto-recognize words and pictures and images within images like Google Lens, right? And if anybody's ever even used a meme, like try to post any BitChute link at all, it doesn't matter how noble the channel or if it's just the main websites, bitchute.com. It's going to claim that false COVID-19 information because someone somewhere at some point in time posted a video from BitChute toward Facebook. Facebook found that information to be inappropriate and blacklisted the entire website or the entire little picture meme response, etc. It's learning from us, and it's learning badly from us. So someone likely used this bottom panel here to protest their opinions of what is and isn't accurate COVID information, and now that made every future post on Facebook that includes this half be assumed to be associated with this after having already been checked in another post by independent fact checkers. Another post, that's a huge problem. Not my post. So it's wrong. Alright. But you get the idea. Facebook is retarded, and I'm about to be banned again. I believe the most recent one. Did I take the screenshot? Actually, before we go, let's just cover some of the YouTube things. Hopefully I have some letters in it. Oh, nice. Yeah, more COVID-19 misinformation. Check this out. And this was with a proper warning, so we don't even know if this video will stay online, folks. Literally, the episode was called Conspiracy Theories. You're supposed to know in advance, before I even start the video, that's the damn title, that it's a conspiracy. How smart do you need to be to know disregard everything after you click play? Okay? Illuminati. Is that not immediate conspiracy buzzword? Aliens. Conspiracy buzzword. Fluoride. Although we're far enough along now to know that it's toxic waste runoff, and a lot of people prefer charcoal and other substances. Nevertheless, you know, fluoride's good for you topically. It's not good for you to ingest or absorb through pores or anything else. AKA, it's terrible for you. So I posted this video. We did a live podcast thing, and both Part 2 and Part 3 I wasn't there for part 1. I joined her later on. But we did 2 different episodes, right? Once a week, Fridays at 9. And they took it as COVID-19 information. And I made sure to give a huge speech at the beginning. I am not a doctor. I'm not a politician. I'm not an educated person by any fashion on anything that means anything towards these following topics. What I am is an entertainer. And we're going to talk about some of the craziest theories we've heard. Not report them as fact. But this is what happens, folks. These are our overlords. Your channel will gain a community guideline strike. You won't be able to do things like upload, post, or live stream for a week. Since this is my first time, and you know I'm just going to get in trouble again. You think I'm going to stop free speech just because you make some clinical error? Look at that. Medical misinformation. Here's their according to them, what I did wrong in the video. Take a look at your content, keeping policies in mind. First, review our policies, particularly any listed here. Then, check out your content again. Why don't you watch the content? That's the funny thing about these censorship overlords. If they watch through the video, their suspicions would be relieved for most of us. Most of us are good enough at rhetoric. The fact that Fox News exists lets you know. It is hilarious. It's like watching a comedy show. But you know just how to say it. To not technically be leading people or telling them one way or another, or you make it obvious that it's a joke. Fox gets away with what they did because he won a court case saying that it is rhetoric. That they know it's entertainment. That no reasonable person would just swallow this shit whole. You want to make sure your content follows all policies, not just the ones identified. Issues found later can also impact your video. Policy violated. Medical misinformation. YouTube doesn't allow claims about COVID-19 vaccinations. I love the description, at least they're honest, that contradict expert consensus. Let me break that down. YouTube doesn't allow claims about anything that contradict our favored people's claims, their consensus, their generalized assumption, their grouped together agreements from local health authorities or the World Health Organization. How many times have we found both of those to be outdated? How many times have we found that their science over time also grows? So we're not allowed to talk about anything, contradict it in any way, just accept it, bend over, broom me now, sir, please. I will thank you while you do it. What else is in here? Okay, so, did you know, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I guess I didn't record many others in this. There used to be all kinds of folders, but it just blows my fucking mind, man. There's the picture. Didn't realize I was still on big screen mode. You know, so. COVID-19 misinformation. Alright, so there you go. You got a little fucking unnecessary story here. But the point is, I can't post on Facebook and keep you guys updated anymore. For, what was it, 2 months? 1 month? Okay, so you're going to have to stick with these YouTube live updates and stuff, or just subscribe to the channel before this one gets banned too. But above all else, remember, there's always links, a portal to all things Kevin at kevinsportal.com. Now, if you're looking for School of Evil, kevinsportal.com/school for evil. But you don't need to remember all that stuff. There's some beautiful navigation menus at the top and the bottom of the page. It'll take you everywhere you want to go, whether it's the Blog of Controversy, Church of Kevin for the positive stuff, School for Evil for self-empowerment, and more direct ways of being, you know, the kind of stuff that ain't allowed here. We got a lot of things coming. KTV is blowing up. We're going to build everything into one master program here, and the more money and stuff as time goes along, we're more prepared financially to be able to put into the show. We're going to have all kinds of stuff, characters, outfits, the whole bit. It's going to be an interesting experience for all of us. But it'll have to be hosted elsewhere. Websites like bitshoot.com/KTV. BitChute, as we mentioned, is a common site for people to go to for having free speech, and therefore it's often labeled demonic, you know, metaphorically speaking. People will demonize it. They will make it sound bad because other people have used this platform, like all platforms, to share their opinion, and report it as fake. But the cool part about BitChute, folks, is there's like several settings for how you can set your account up. And I think it's a great solution. Other websites can learn from this. You can set yours to everybody, right? And upload videos and allow them to make decisions or whatever, if it's PG and appropriate or whatever. You can set your account to NSFL. Most of us know that means not safe. Oh, I skipped one. I meant to say NSFW and then lean into the other. Not safe for work, okay? Which means this material might be slightly controversial or contain swear words or something that's not acceptable in all settings. And then here's what makes them kind of unique that I haven't seen anywhere else, though. Not safe for life. Not safe for life. So conspiracy theories, dangerous things, footage of riots and things happening that aren't appropriate to show because some people need a trigger warning or have PTSD or whatever. Bombs and fireworks might go off, might send them into a bad place. So basically everything else gets to be filed under not safe for life. Now here's the cool factor about BitChute, folks, and why it's one of my favorite platforms and will be as I continue to do these highly controversial shows. Nobody can see your videos if your account is set for not safe for life, or your video is, because you can actually choose different settings per video, except for others who have the same settings. In other words, if their account is not set to be allowed to be seeing these potentially triggering, potentially dangerous, potentially offensive videos, then they won't see them. Guaranteeing you more or less the rights of free speech to continue to share your message and ideology with the world without having penalty. So you can express yourself only to basically subscribers, people actually interested in what your opinion, your presentation, this is you they came to listen to, not themselves. They aren't talking to the WHO or whoever. They came to you. So you'd assume that they'd want your opinion. Well, NSFL, not safe for life, kind of guarantees that. They came here knowing exactly what to expect. This is not safe for life. I should expect to have a horrible time. But since I'm here anyway, if I choose to be here anyway, I can be an open listener. BitChute.com/KTV. KevinsPortal.com. I ported all things Kevin. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I tried to make this spontaneous and interesting or whatever, but somebody needed to know. I can't even post this to Facebook, so only some of you are really going to be up to date on why Kevin's missing. Well, Kevin just offended somebody again. Kevin is working on a project and several documentary films, and one of which is Big Pharma Problems and Solutions. What about Big Social? What can we do to improve this? Because I'll tell you one more thing before we exit this, folks. Donald Trump had allegedly started a social network, which in multiple different ways fails, but that's not the point. I would have supported and liked the idea of that, even though it's very unlikely it'll be total free speech and it'll just be a different kind of dictator controlling how things go. But I would have liked to see how that goes. But here's the funny part of that alleged push for free speech and a new social network. It was only available on iOS. So only people with $500 phones could participate in free speech. You know what I'm saying? Which I fucking hate Apple anyway. Even if they cost $1, I'm not going to use their products. So like all the people, they also are one of the phones that track the user the most. Every swipe, every tap, every screen rotation is like stored in data keys and shit. So like the most tracking device that you get this pay extra for, incentivizing the use of this device to go join an alleged free speech network. That's like using a fucking computer to hack, like using my own personal laptop on an unsecured network in a public library, and then taking the laptop back home to me, back home with me, and connecting myself to the regular internet, telling people my geolocation and internet protocol address. AKA, for those who don't know the language, basically your IP address can kind of tell people where you are. If you don't go through great lengths to mask both that and your MAC address, people can find your computer and know exactly where you're sitting. And a room full of people, you can figure that out. Alright, so that's about all I have to say, folks. Peace be with those who wish for peace, and war be with those who wish war. No matter what you do. Sorry, dudes. No matter what you say is and isn't okay, no matter how many times I'm banned until you cut my throat and drink my blood from the new wound, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. Every time that you persecute some mentally ill person or pick a fucking issue today, a black person, a white devil, there's misjustice everywhere all over the place all the time. And silencing us or choosing which side is allowed to express themselves is retarded. I stand for the exact opposite. Free speech. Say fuck you to my face. I'd rather you tell me. Hurt my feelings. Be direct. At least we know what's going on there. So I'm just going to fight that much harder. Every ban I get is more incentive for bigger and better shows, bigger and better documentaries, more presentations, more videos, more songs written, more effort out there. And if you guys check out the website, kevinsportal.com, which I think I'll read a segment of here, you'll see my mission statement. I worded it rather well, which is why I'm going to read it instead of spontaneously spitting you a new pitch for the same spiel. Kevin Chaos, the autistic wizard. Okay? Right here, mission statement. Actually, let's read it from the beginning right here. It's not that long. Kevin Chaos, the autistic wizard. TM. Kevin Chaos is a widespread, creative visionary, quirky, unable to be truly categorized, ADHD, Asperger's syndrome, and more. He's guaranteed a unique and original approach to his fields. He aims to raise awareness of the physically and mentally different capabilities outside of the commonly accepted, with in-your-face, outrageous presentations, music videos, public projects, blogs, and more. He aims to showcase the different and turn the prejudiced into awareness of just how handy capable that we can be. The autistic wizard is all over the board. Several projects are underway. Look forward to several Android applications being coded, musical albums, podcasts of controversy, occulty, philosophical blogs and vlogs, and also coming soon, #Earth, now renamed Devil News, or KTB. It's gotten much larger of a project. For news on these as they develop, challenges, delays, setbacks, or changes, visit the news page. Okay? Mission statement. Ultimately, the goal... Here, let me let you read along with me. Don't know why I didn't think of that. Okay? Kevin Chaos. You know you like that seal. Just playing. Ain't about ego. It's the opposite. I want to encourage your egos, your individualities, your rights. I want you to be allowed the same thing your opponents are allowed. If someone's allowed to swing a sword at you, you should be allowed to swing a sword at them. Not that the goal is to smash everybody to pieces, but the point is, people talk about equality and they're rarely really pitching equality. They're pitching their superior judgmental skills. I can decide what's good or bad for you better than you can, my child. Mission statement. The goal is to raise mental health awareness. People will look back at these projects and check their prejudice and labels at the door. Humans are evolving. Mental illnesses are superpowers untamed. One can do just about anything, and the record will stand for itself. From the bipolar in touch with emotion that everybody goes to for advice because one feels so deep, to the ADHD master of the multitask, completer of goals when tamed, difficulty single tasking, to the OCD master of patterns, of language, and of contract, to the schizophrenic with the imaginations to dream, to abstract, to connect all the threads when they're right. They're great investigators. OCD saying, misguided shouldn't be a misfit. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing it's stupid. All these are Albert Einstein quotes. It's not that I'm so smart, I just stayed with my problems longer. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge, it's limited. Imagination encompasses the world. These quotes are from a drug-using dropout who didn't speak for the first several years of his life because he, quote, didn't see a need to. Many thought he was retarded, and his name was Albert Einstein, and he went on to be a professional con artist, stealing almost everything that he ever worked on, including E equals MC squared. Look into that. There's a great video on YouTube. Just Google search, or YouTube search rather, Einstein's Fraud and Worse Explained. Lovely Buddha-like guy. Breaks it down for you, under 10 minutes, recommends books, cites his research. The man was a fraud. Nevertheless, though, a lot of people still support him, and a lot of people say, well, he made a great compilation list, he had all the quotes and stuff. And that he did. Being ignorant is not so much of a shame as being unwilling to learn. Benjamin Franklin, a man who wanted to make the state bird a turkey. I don't make this shit up, I just have, tons of useless facts in my brain. Difference to shit, it's power. Alright, so now you got an idea of what I stand for, why I fight so hard, what we're working on here. People want to talk about illness. People want to talk about difference. People want to talk about being underrepresented or overly abused and stuff like that. But people are leaving out a lot of fucking crucial details and information. And they really don't want to have a discussion about it so much as they just want to feel hurt and feel heard. It's not a discussion. There's no debate with most of these people and groups. But I stand for the opposite. I think information, like a hacker, come on, man. Everybody knows the hacker code. Information should be free. Information should be free. Information should be free. I don't believe in hiding shit. If you're evil or good or whatever your perceptions and how you use similar words, you are what you are. The world, I think it was a Buddhist expression that said, there are three things that can't long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Do you realize what lying and rhetoric and all this extra shit takes? You know, if you lie even one time in your life, you have to spend the rest of your life lying. Just to keep that one up. Coming up with constant new creativity and challenges and manipulation and fucking factors on how to win. Or, you can tell the truth. People will respect or not like you, and you're going to find it to be about 50-50. There are an equal number of people that find you attractive as unattractive, equal number of people that think you talk too much, that think you talk just enough, or make up for their introverted ways, for example. So you're a perfectly fine human being. But I stand for telling truth on all these subjects, and we're going to tackle a lot of offensive and challenging stuff. We're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. Sorry, not sorry. You know, I've got questions. You've got questions. Everybody is in room for some kind of improvement on so many things. We've just started up so many other things. You know, at first, Latinas were included in Black Lives Matter and called people of colors. I didn't come up with that. I thought that sounded silly. You know, there's a lot of stuff we need to really discuss if these are solutions instead of the corporate world elites and shit organizing psychological scenarios for us to fight each other and make it easier for them to dominate, in my opinion. If these are real issues, let's talk about them all. Let's have real conversations. Let's, knowing that we're all impulsive, knowing that we have ADHD, knowing that we're all emotional and stuff as well, take turns submitting and staring at the crack in the wall with our hand over our mouth, so to speak. I've literally said this to people before because I know sometimes I interrupt. And it's not meant to be a bad thing. What I mean in suggesting that is one of the problems in fixing worldly scenarios, these worldly issues, is that nobody gets to actually have their entire thing heard. Some of us are Asperger's. Some of us need a little bit more time to put the words together right. It's not easy to simplify for some of us. Or we might be focused more on the details than the overall simplicity that you're looking for. That being said, that's one mental illness. Should they not be heard? Should they not get the mental health or anything that they need to because of your inability to hear them or understand how they're approaching the world? It only takes a Google search, reading one article, watching one video to learn what that mind is, how it works. So I kind of greatly want everybody to be allowed to speak. You shouldn't be able to be hung, killed, stabbed, shot, whatever, for having some fucking opinion. Another person can go move, go live their life, or just ignore you. You know? But that's not what we do. We all are trying to dominate one another with our superior opinion and shit. So a big part of my journey is to raise mental health awareness. That we all know just how capable and special and strong some of us really were. Instead of what we were taught, the limitations, the impossibilities, or where we're supposed to fit in, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to dress, how we're supposed to talk. Whereas the other big thing that I'm working for is ultimately freedom of speech. There should be, you should have the same rights as everybody else. And there should be, especially on the internet, you should be able to say whatever you want. You don't have to visit this website or befriend this MySpace or Facebook person. You could literally choose not war, but to opt out. And instead of the codependency, which is also something I mention a lot, like with LGBT circles and stuff like that, you should totally feel comfortable in your own skin and not wait for someone else to say it's okay or not need them to, all the rituals and symbols and crap are totally fucking unnecessary, in my opinion, because you're losing when you do that. You're letting them tell you how it has to go and that there's all these sequences. You got to jump through these hoops in this circus taming act, to be able to get there. And that's not necessarily the case if you can love yourself and your fellow man and the groups that you're in. So there's just so much I want to talk about in upcoming videos. And y'all are going to have to pretty much subscribe to me on BitChute to find them and make sure that your account settings are not safe for life, that they show up. Alright, that's about all the time I have for this. I still have a fuck ton of work to do. I'm not going to be sleeping tonight. Tomorrow, Sunday, night church, 9 p.m. we're still doing the show. Okay? Hopefully I can organize enough of this in time. I have been swamped with so many things, but I have some great things that will definitely be included. It might be a little simpler than the 2.5-hour live stream premiere. But I guarantee you it'll be worth the ride. And unlike the original performance, you're going to see some cutaways, some videos, some stuff that kind of fits in to make it much more entertaining and less I'm in school rigidly learning regurgitations of facts and charts and diagrams. So it should be a little bit more balanced. That was supposed to kind of serve as an excitement for you all to get just some of the bare minimum branches, so to speak, that will be going down and exploring some of the psychology, how easy us and others are to be and to manipulated / All right. Have fun, folks. Much love to you all. Peace be with you.